Hey, it's Cindy, and it's time for Monday School, and I am, for the most part, pretty present. I was reminded this last week in a big way of what a great gift it is to give someone a shout out, to give them a wonderful compliment. And I had posted an Atta girl for a really neat lady in my town, and just talked about her a little bit, and then gave her an Atta girl on Facebook. And the next day, when I was checking my messages, I saw all these notifications of all the people that had tagged on and made wonderful, lovely comments. And then I saw her responses to each one, and what a lovely, wonderful thing that little comment that grew into a big event for her was. And I wanted to tell you the roots of my Atta Girl project, and where it comes from here. About 6 years ago, I was a single mom, raising two little girls. I had my daughter Tori, and then I was raising my niece, and that was a very tragic and some difficult circumstances that came about to create that situation. And when I say I was a single parent, I was a single parent, okay? And it was a long day. I'd have been up very early for a meeting. The girls had been at daycare and school all day, and my niece had a scheduled court-mandated supervised visit with her birth mother, and it was scheduled for every week, and her mother never showed up. And that evening, her mom did not come again for like the 37th week in a row. And she was devastated. She was a little girl. She wanted to see her mom. She was devastated. And I said, why don't we go to pizza? Let's go get some pizza. And so we piled in the car and we went to pizza. And, they were being kids and not paying attention. And the pizza was sitting on the table. They were off playing with the video games. And I was trying to rush them along and get them going. Come on. Because we still had to get home. We still had to, have baths and do homework and all the little things that have to be done. And there's only me to do them. And a gentleman came over and walked clear across the restaurant to me. And he said, lady, you need to slow the heck down. You are rushing those children, and that's all they are going to remember about you, that you were always in a hurry, and that you were pushing them. You need to knock it off and slow down. I dealt with it, right? Got the girls out of there, got home, just a little teeny bit demoralized because I was a single parent, capitalized, single, doing it myself. And somebody had told me once that the best a single parent could ever do was half the job. And that weighed really heavy on me. And that guy, he put a chink in my armor and took me down a notch or two. And it took me a little while, and I was able to work through that, and eventually came to a point where I said in my little heart, in my head, thank you. Thank you for contributing to my growth and my growing and my education, because I don't want to be like you. And I started at that time a brief scaled down version of my Atta Girl project. And I would look for ways to walk over to a complete stranger, particularly a parent, a mother with children, and say, great job. You're doing a great job. What great kids you've got. Gosh, your kids have great manners. Nice work, Mom. Because I knew what it felt like to get the other, right? And so that was back before the days of social media, and a lot of times I would just, write a little note to somebody, maybe a coworker, and say, nice work. Love that color on you. Whatever it was. But giving a compliment to someone versus a criticism is a game changer. It's a scientific background, science that proves that when you give a compliment, it increases the dopamine level in not only the receiver, but the giver. And it lowers stress, it increases self-esteem, it increases productivity. It kind of changes your whole outlook on life. Not just for the receiver, but the same identical benefits, mental and physical benefits of a compliment also apply to the giver. Several years later, many years later, I was caring for my grandmother over at an assisted living facility here, and I worked very hard to make those last years of her life everything that she deserved for them to be, and I visited her every day. And in the last few weeks of her life when she was on hospice, I essentially stayed there all the time, and I slept next to her bed, and I made sure she was clean and she had lipstick on, and cared for her and made sure that I was present for her at that period of time. When she passed away, I called our local mortuary and I waited for them to come, and they did. And while they were in doing what they needed to do to remove her body, I was waiting in the lobby. And one of the caregivers came up to me, walked right in front of me, leaned down in front of me, looked me in the eye and said, "Well done." What? She said, "I watched what you did. Well done." And in that moment, those two words, "well done," lightened my load. They made my grief bearable. They validated me. And that message to me, "well done," I took it, I received it, and I said, yes, I did. I kept my promise to my grandmother. I walked her home. I did it. And contrast that with, "Lady, you need to lighten up." Do you see the difference? So encouragement, compliments, I think they can change the world. You want to know how to make a difference in somebody's life and get a little benefit for yourself? Start with an Atta girl. Have a great week. Bye.